I'm Ken O'Dowd, member for Flynn. I live in Gladstone. Yeah, this is my home base.
Larissa Waters, I'm the Australian Greens Senator for Queensland and the spokesperson for the Great Barrier Reef.
Gladstone is an export town. We export a lot of grain, aluminium and of course a lot of coal. Resources industry has suffered a bit of a slowdown of late, but we've got the capacity here to ship more resource products, more aluminium, more gas, so it all looks rosy for the future.
The coal boom is on the decline. This industry is not going to last for much longer. The rest of the world's already looking for clean energy alternatives, which Australia could be offering them given our wonderful renewable resources.
A lot of our coal gets exported to Japan and Korea, and we also have the largest coal-fired power station here in Gladstone. I can't see those coal-fired power stations disappearing in the next 25 years at least.
There's a great perception in Australia that coal is somehow the backbone of our economy and employs an awful lot of people. When you look at the actual figures, it employs less than 2% of Australians, and it's about 7% of our GDP that it brings in. It always disappoints me when people think that just because of a handful of jobs that might be created around destroying the reef, that they're not looking at the bigger picture and thinking, look, the real backbone of coastal economies up there is the reef and tourism that's around it, as well as sustainable fishing. You've got dredging and dumping and coal ships that are worsening the brand of the reef from a tourism perspective and worsening the water quality from a diving and an underwater perspective.
We've had to do a certain amount of dredging in our harbour, and that has caused a few concerns to our port. It wasn't planned correctly, it wasn't built correctly, and the wall wasn't constructed properly. This has been picked up in various inquiries, so that should not and will not happen again. But since those days, things have turned around a lot. The porpoises, the fish, the prawns are back in town, back in the harbour. The harbour is not toxic. If it was ever toxic, it's not anymore. There is some evidence of coal dust in the town itself still, but that's being worked on also. So it all looks pretty good, and everyone is doing their level best to correct any things that have gone wrong in the past to make sure it doesn't happen again.
It's not going to stop the economy overnight if we don't export coal. We need to transition it. We don't use asbestos anymore. We transitioned out of that because it was deadly. It's exactly the same principle. When you find out that something you're doing is damaging, you move away from it and other industries flourish.